The Lost Cat. Once upon a time, in a little village nestled beside a sparkling blue river, lived a fluffy gray cat named Whiskers. Whiskers wasn't just any cat, he was the best cat in the whole village. He had soft fur, bright green eyes, and a playful purr that could charm even the grumpiest old farmer. He belonged to a kind old lady named Mrs. Higgins, who lived in a cozy cottage with a flower-filled garden. Every morning, Whiskers would wake up with the sunrise, stretch his little body, and then go for a stroll around the village. He knew every nook and cranny, every friendly face, and every delicious smell. He loved greeting the baker with a gentle rub against his legs, chasing butterflies in the meadow, and napping in sunbeams. He was the heart of the village, a furry friend to everyone. One sunny afternoon, Whiskers was chasing a particularly plump bumblebee. He followed it through a gap in the hedge at the edge of the village, deeper and deeper into the whispering woods. The bee buzzed away, disappearing into the dense trees. Whiskers, caught up in the chase, didn't notice how far he had wandered. When he finally stopped, panting and slightly embarrassed, he realized something terrible. He was lost. The woods were dark and mysterious. Tall trees loomed over him, their branches intertwined like giant fingers. Strange shadows danced in the undergrowth, and unfamiliar sounds echoed through the trees. Whiskers, usually so brave, felt a shiver run down his spine. He missed the familiar sights and smells of his village, the warm lap of Mrs. Higgins, and the comforting sound of her gentle voice. He meowed sadly, his voice lost in the rustling leaves. He walked and walked, hoping to find his way back, but the woods seemed to go on forever. He came across a grumpy badger who grumbled about noisy cats, a family of chattering squirrels who ignored him completely, and a wise old owl who hooted mysteriously from a high branch. None of them could help him. He was all alone. As dusk settled, the woods grew darker and colder. Whiskers was hungry and tired. He curled up under the roots of a large oak tree, shivering and missing his warm bed. He felt utterly alone and terribly scared. He wished with all his might that he could be back home with Mrs. Higgins. Meanwhile, back in the village, Mrs. Higgins was frantic. She had waited and waited for Whiskers to return, but he was nowhere to be seen. She searched high and low, calling his name until her voice was hoarse. Everyone in the village helped her, the baker, the blacksmith, even the grumpy old farmer. They searched the streets, the fields, and the riverbanks. But Whiskers was nowhere to be found. Mrs. Higgins was heartbroken. That night, the villagers held a meeting. They decided to organize a search party for the lost cat. They knew how much Whiskers meant to Mrs. Higgins and to the whole village. They would not give up until he was safe and sound again. The next morning, armed with torches and whistles, they ventured into the woods. The search was long and difficult. The woods were vast and confusing, but the villagers persevered, their hearts filled with hope. They called out Whiskers' name, their voices echoing through the trees. They looked under bushes, behind trees, and even inside hollow logs. Their determination was unwavering. Finally, after what seemed like an eternity, little Timmy, the baker's son, spotted something gray and fluffy curled up under the roots of a large oak tree. It was Whiskers. He was weak and tired, but alive. Timmy gently coaxed him out, and Whiskers, recognizing a friendly face, purred gratefully. The news spread like wildfire through the village. Everyone rejoiced. They carried Whiskers back to Mrs. Higgins, who burst into tears of relief. She hugged Whiskers tightly, burying her face in his soft fur. Whiskers was home. That evening, the whole village gathered at Mrs. Higgins' cottage for a celebration. There was plenty of food, laughter, and happy purrs. Whiskers, nestled safely in Mrs. Higgins' lap, purred contentedly. He had learned a valuable lesson about staying close to home, but he was happy to be back where he belonged. He was home, safe and loved. From that day on, Whiskers stayed close to home. He still went for his daily strolls, but he never ventured too far from the village. He had learned his lesson, and he knew that the love and safety of his home, and the love of Mrs. Higgins and the villagers, were worth more than any exciting chase. He was, and always would be, the best cat in the whole village. And the villagers, in turn, cherished their furry friend even more. The adventure had brought them closer together, reminding them of the importance of community and the joy of a happy ending. The story of Whiskers, the lost cat, became a village legend, a reminder of the power of friendship, love, and the unwavering spirit of a small community. And every night, as Mrs. Higgins tucked Whiskers into his warm bed, she whispered, "My sweet Whiskers, you're home now, and you'll never be lost again." The end.